Yeah. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. I'm trying something new today, so I'm trying to stream to LinkedIn. So let me know if you're watching from LinkedIn. I actually see Joe in the back. Let me see if you can hear me. Joe, my man, can you hear me?
Hey, man, I can hear you well. How are you?
All right, good. I can hear you too. You look good. Love it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say hi to everyone in the live chat. And I usually go over like 4 videos I find over the past week, and then I'll introduce you in.
Perfect.
All right, guys. If you guys are on LinkedIn and on Twitter, I'm trying to stream there to see if you guys can hear me and see me. Something new. If I cut you guys off, it's because my bandwidth may be cutting out, but if not, welcome to the show. Don't be shy, everyone. Say hi in the live chat. Today we'll be talking about reputation management, how SEO relates to that, with a very special guest today, Joe Troyer. Stefan, my man. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Joe Troyer's in the live chat. Hey, y'all. Glad to be here. Joe, where are you calling in from?
Ohio.
If you're just tuning in, we'll be talking about reputation management and a new project that Joe's in charge of, Review Grower, and a bunch of other things. I've been following Joe for some time now. I've actually played some of your clips on the SEO video show a few years back.
Thank you.
Yep. Always love sharing great content. Hannah Becker. Hello from Seattle, Washington. Let's see here. Jeremy says you should stream on OnlyFans too. Haha, what's up, fam? Man, I think I can get paid more out there. Jeremy, my man. Yeah, happy Friday, y'all. Don't forget to say hi in the live chat. Let me know where you're watching from. We got about 6.5 more minutes to go. We got a loaded show today. A lot of knowledge bombs will be dropped with our very special guest, Joe Troyer. Luther, hello. For those watching on LinkedIn, I believe there's a delay, so apologies if I get to your questions later. And at the same time, I don't think I could show your comments on the live screen until I figure that out. Kobe, what's up, Dre and Joe? Ernesto, yo. Ernesto's out in Florida, I believe. All right, guys, we got about less than 5 more minutes to go. Be sure to get your shouts out. Thank you for tuning in. Joe says, used to be in your neck of the woods, Ernesto. Oh, yeah. I need to visit out there. I hear it's beautiful out in Florida.
If you like the heat.
I mean, it's like 90 degrees where I'm at right now. Got my air conditioning going on so I can wear my hoodie. I gotta stay on brand here. Brian, happy Friday. How long have you been on YouTube? You've been pushing videos since like, what, 7, 8 years already on there?
Yeah, probably 10.
Oh,
Something like that, 9, 10. I'm an oldie.
love it. If you're just tuning in, we got about 3 more minutes to go. Chris Rice, my man. Hi, guys. Did you see the questions I put in the kind of topics that we can go over? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I ran through it. Should be good to go.
All right.
Easy enough.
Yeah, we haven't had anyone talk about reputation management on here, so I think this is going to be a great episode. First time knowledge bombs.
Good. Let's do it.
Love it. All right, guys, we got 2 more minutes to go. If you get some questions, get them ready, and I will address them in the order that they are received. Today's topic, we'll be talking about reputation management. And how else you can help there, and how else you can build your reputation online. We're coming down to 1 minute. Joe, I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute, and I'll unmute you right when I introduce you onto the show. All right. All right, guys. We got about 1 more minute to go. Get your shouts out right before I get ready here. Oh, Brian, nice job blowing up your description area. Thank you, thank you.
Hey Dre, why do SEOs love the farmer's market? Optim organic.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started. No delay. Let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he know is all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre Devera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released in the past week into about 1 minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the founder of Digital Triggers and review grower, Joe Troyer. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Brian, Joe, Chris, Ernesto, Kobe, Luther, Jeremy, Hannah, Stefan. Welcome everyone. Please like and subscribe and support this channel. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, why do SEOs love the farmer's market? Lots of organic content.
Google released a new video on how to be eligible for Google News. Let's check this one out.
Show up in top stories or the news tab, you need to be eligible for Google News. How do you become eligible? Good news. Content across the web is automatically considered. What appears in Google News is content that meets 3 key criteria: high levels of EEAT, consistent history of producing news-related content, and following the Google News policies. A key part of the policies is transparency. This means that you're providing clear dates, information about the authors, publication, and publisher. Visitors to your site want to know who writes the content they read.
A past guest, Maj Hussain, covers Google News sites. So if you want to learn more about getting instant backlinks with Google News, check that episode out. FantRank shared an SEO technique called rank jacking. Let's check this one out.
So how exactly do you go about carrying out rank jacking? The best way to start rank jacking is to initially identify who outranked you for certain keyword terms, and outreach to those websites to see if they're interested in 301ing that page to yours for a set fee. The actual email you send to the website owner is really important here, as the copy must be right in order to entice them into agreeing with you. Thankfully, we've tested this meticulously to make sure the right email funnel is set up, so take a look at our examples in the link in the description. Once you've agreed on a cost and the 301 is set up, you should start seeing some impressive lifts in rankings site-wide, as Google values age sites that are ranking very highly, and for the power to be sent through to your website is one hell of a ranking factor. We've seen significant jumps in the last 15 websites we've carried out for this technique, all in various niches. One example we showcase in our case study shows an over 2,500% growth in organic clicks, with results that were actually almost instant. In fact, we find this technique to yield much faster results than traditional link building, which doesn't surprise us given the amount of power and trust our sites receive from rank jacking.
This reminds me of a technique of buying out sites off outright on the first or second page. I mean, this technique is much more cost effective, and pretty innovative there, because what they're actually doing is you're buying the article and republishing it on your site and then having them swap out with the 301 redirect. Genius. Okay, Koray Tugberk, a past guest here on the show, released a highly anticipated course which on Topical Authority, and which he was working on for the past 2 years. Did any of you buy it? The cost is high. Is it worth it? Clint Butler goes into detail on each module in SEO this week. Let's check out his review and see if this course is for you.
It was interesting. Worth the money? Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to get some ideas out of it that are useful. It was worth the money for me because I do testing and stuff. If you're looking for a new system to, order content or write out the outline of a site and then do your content briefs and stuff, I think you're wasting your time with this course. Because this is how I did it. This is how I built the content brief. It's just literally him filling in a spreadsheet. So that sucks.
Clint will be building out a few of the courses out himself, so I'm pretty excited about that. And he's actually in the live chat. What's up, Clint? Okay, once they're done, I'll be sure to let you guys know, and hopefully we can get a discount, right, Clint? All right. How to Establish a Knowledge Panel by Jason Barnard this past week. Let's check this one out. Let's check out a few tips.
So it's a page on a website that you control where you describe clearly who you are and what you do. That means the About page is ideal because there you can explain the facts and you can set them out in a way that makes sense to Google. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be attractive to users, but you use it as a way to communicate the facts, your version of the facts, to Google over time. From that entity home, you need to signpost multiple independent, authoritative third parties that corroborate what it is you're saying. We call that accumulation of corroboration, multiple sources that corroborate what it is you're saying, the facts about your entity, who you are, what you do, which audience you serve. And preferably, they will link back to your entity home, and you create an infinite self-confirming loop of corroboration, where Google goes to the entity home, reads the facts, you point it to another source such as Crunchbase, it sees the same version of the facts or a very close version of the facts, no contradictions on that website, and that website then points back to the entity home. It goes from the entity home out to another website, for example Wikidata, and sees the same facts again. And it comes back from Wikidata to the official site, which is your own website, the About page, the entity home, and then it goes out to Google Books perhaps, and sees the same information, comes back to the entity home, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on.
And of course, don't forget to use the same as schema to interlink everything. I mean, knowledge panels are great for building a trustworthy reputation online, which brings me to my favorite part of the show, learning more about reputation management. Please ask questions and I will address them in the order that they are received. While I get things ready here, please like and subscribe the channel while I get things ready. Joe is an internet entrepreneur helping businesses make more money since 2005. He's known for being an expert in all things internet marketing. This includes SEO, Google business profiles, reputation management, and more. He worked with many top 500 internet retailers. He is the founder of YouGoer and the Digital Triggers podcast host. Please welcome Joe More Value Troy. Joe, my man, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks so much for having me.
Love it, love it. Everyone, let's give it a round of applause. Thank you for coming on. But this is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on in 1 minute or less. How does Joe get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Oh man, that's a really good question. You didn't prep me for that one. So I mean, we're going to talk about reputation management today. So lots of reviews, right? Lots of citations, good Google business profile if you're local, and then building good DR, right? And building out good content. So to build DR, I'd go after PR links personally. Something that we've been doing really only for like the last 12 months, but that's working really, really well. So Harrow, Turkle, things like that. And then I get good at, publishing content, right? So we're publishing content at like 2 cents a word. You can do a lot with that very quickly.
Love that. Love that. Let's go ahead and rewind this real quick. Hold on. Joe, take us way back into the time. How'd you first get into SEO?
Oh man. So I was a college dropout, right? I was going to school and knew I wanted to do something with marketing or something online, e-commerce, sign up for like IT services, like online information technology, and hated it. It was all like networking and Windows Server. And I dropped out, started to go to school to learn about websites, and very quickly did very well with that, started selling websites, built a company around it. And for about 2 years, that was like my world, but I didn't really enjoy it. It was just a moneymaker, right? And it was like my gateway drug. It was my way into the industry, my way to start figuring things out. And very quickly, like that movie Field of Dreams, right, with Kevin Costner, I built all these websites, and my clients started, standing up and getting in line and saying, "Joe, great, this is it, but thanks for your help, but I'm not getting any more business because of this. What do I do now, right? Can you help me?" And very quickly started getting into the marketing end, and just fell in love.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so I mean, when you first, so you got in first like that way, but I mean, so what made you interested in part of SEO? Like, what part of SEO actually made you so interested in it?
I really saw it as like an algorithm or a formula, right, that I could learn and that I could leverage, and it put me between like my dreams and where I was, right? It was a mechanism to get to where I wanted to go. And I knew that I could market stuff for myself. I knew I could market things then for clients. So I could have my own projects, clients could pay the bills. And so, that was the big thing for me. And I saw, people back then just starting to have like crazy success with SEO. And to be honest, like, I was young, right? And I was immature and I didn't know better. So I just like followed blindly, and it worked, and I saw success.
Love that. So I mean, like, what are some other places that you actually learned it then? Like, I mean, were you like following anyone? Were you like visiting websites? Were you,
Yeah. So it was back in 2009 is like when I started making the transition from like really web development to really getting into SEO and taking that seriously as like my primary focus. And so I learned originally from StomperNet back in the day. So Andy Jenkins and Brad Fallon and Dan Thies and Leslie Rohde and Jerry West. It was like 2008, 2009.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one. Is that still around? So was it StomperNet?
No. Yeah. No, not at all. Very old school.
Love that. Was that like a forum or was that like a kind of a mastermind or type of like a membership?
Yeah, it was kind of all that, right? And kind of the first of its kind in our space. And I'll never forget, it was like $800 a month. And I like didn't have a credit card or any way to even like, afford that. And I had to like go ask my parents. I, was out of the house and I had to go ask them like, hey, can I borrow your credit card? And they're like, what for? And I'm like, oh, I want to join this community. It's like, $797 a month. And they're like, what?
Jesus, man. Oh man. Well, I mean, it looks like it worked out really well for you. Cause I mean, you're able to launch a bunch of online businesses. I mean, you're doing PPC. Sure. Are you doing like agency stuff now? Like agency stuff too, yeah. and then you have Review Grower. I mean, like, can you tell us like more about some of your businesses that actually are able to like launch?
Yeah, so I think like I've always been rooted in like the digital marketing agency world, and that gives me the foundation to be able to work on projects for myself, projects for my clients, and then also like projects for my partnerships, right? So I'll go build partnerships with other companies, right? Whether they're online or offline companies, and I'll run, the digital marketing side of things. And so I would say that that's allowed me to really go after multiple things at once, where I feel like a lot more people, in order to keep their eye on the ball and scale, have to really be focused on one or two things. So the agency is the core. But then, today we own 4 SaaS companies, and then a couple of affiliate sites, I would say are the main things besides the agency.
Love that. And one of the, I mean, so you also do courses yourself, right? You have like programs that you do, and there's one that you actually just started, was the SEO Kickstart program that you just got going on. Yep. So I'm curious here, because I mean, you can charge up to $10,000 an audit, right? So that's something like I want to kind of learn that real quick. I know I didn't throw this in the prep, but I'm curious, like, how can I, like, because when I charge for audits, I'm charging maybe a couple grand here and there, but I was like, how can I charge 10 grand? Like, what's your secret where you can have that much value, like, for them to like charge that much?
Sure. So I think like one of the keys to being able to charge successfully for audits is all around positioning and who the clients are, right? The more money they're making, the more money they're spending on advertising, the more money they're spending on media, right? The bigger opportunity, right, SEO is for them, and the more impact that we can make. So in that example, that case study, that was through a chamber of commerce that was a reseller of mine. Right. And so the Chamber of Commerce helped me bring on this client that was spending about $1 million a month in paid media, and wanted to start taking some of their investment and pushing it into SEO. And up until then, like, they really didn't. It was all paid media. So it's very easy to convince somebody that's spending that much money, right? Like, that my SEO audit would be worthwhile and that it would be worth 10 grand to them, right? In comparison to what they're spending, like, that's nothing. And in comparison to the impact that could make for them, it's pennies.
Love that. Love that. Okay, let's get into our topic of today, which is reputation management. We haven't had guests that talk about it really that much here. And you actually built a business around reputation management called Review Grower. So I'm like, for those out there, I mean, can you like kind of really explain kind of like what, like, what is reputation management real quick, and why is it like important for businesses and individuals today?
Yeah, so I got into reputation like kicking, dragging, and screaming. And I say that because like in my agency at any given time, my clients are anywhere from 50 to 90% local. And it used to be even more. It was like 95% local and the rest e-com or whatever. And so what I found is that for local and ranking, that GBP, Google Business Places, or GMB, is the biggest thing, right? That's what drives all the call volume. It doesn't matter really where you rank organically. GBP is going to crush that in terms of call volume every time. So like then you break that down, a third or so of the ranking algorithm for GBP and Maps is reviews. Right. And so for a long time, I would tell my clients, this isn't my responsibility. This is yours. I'll handle the other 2/3 and we'll get results together. Right. But this is a collaboration. You're in charge of this third. I'm in charge of this 2/3. But what I found is that over time and years in the space, that like I couldn't ignore it because my clients weren't doing it. They weren't taking care of business. And then that affected us being able to get them results and get them the return on investment that they really wanted and needed in order to continue to pay for me. So I say like, I did it like kicking and screaming. Like I didn't want to do it for years. And now like, it's so important that when we onboard a client, we literally start reputation in that onboarding call, right? Like in that kickoff, because it's so important.
Love that. Love that. Okay. Can you kind of explain the kind of the relationship between like SEO and the reputation management? Like how can they play together?
So, I mean, for local, obviously, it's really important. I mean, citations are important.
Yep.
Reviews directly on Google are important, right? And then if you just are trying to rank, organically, not in the map pack, those citations and those listings, the links are no follow, but they do help. Link building on a local level is a joke, right? You go and you compare what's it take to rank for a reputation management platform or an SEO company versus, a roofer in Dallas, right? And it's night and day, the competition level. I don't find many established companies in offline verticals that need a whole lot of link building. You can get away with the basics, right? As long as they're established and not brand new. So I think, that would be my answer in a nutshell.
Love that. Okay. So let's get into more of how you can actually build a strategy for businesses, kind of your key points of how you would actually go about building your reputation management strategy. You'd kind of set up an online reputation audit, something like that. Is how can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So to start, I would do an audit of the marketplace, right? And by that, I want to see who in the market has the best reputation. How many reviews do they have? And I'd start with Google because that's the most important, right? And then ultimately, I'd focus on figuring out what are the other top review sites locally, right? And in that vertical. So you got niche specific sites, but then you also have in the Dallas market or wherever your client is, what's actually ranking in Google? What's ranking for the primary keyword phrases that they're going after, right? So roofer in Dallas, but then also who's ranking for their brand, right? So that we can make sure that we're prioritizing reviews in those two places, the ones ranking in Google and then the ones ranking for their brand, so that we can make sure that we've covered our basis. And usually that's only 4 or 5 sites, right? It's going to be Facebook, it's going to be Yelp, it's going to be BBB, and then it's going to be a couple niche specific sites, right? If you're if you're in home improvement or the service business, it's going to be Angie's List and maybe House, for example, right? If you're a roofing contractor, maybe it's GAF is one of the big ones in that industry. So you want to do that audit and figure out what are the sites that you need to prioritize after Google. And then second, you just need to get on it and you need to run what we call a catch-up campaign, right? And it's how can we spike reviews as fast as possible, right? So look, here's a insider secret. The way that everybody does reputation management is like they'll upload a list of contacts from their client CRM, or they'll put in like a webhook to send them to ReviewGrower or whatever other platform you're using. And then they do a drip campaign to do review requests, right? So, I mean, that's it in a nutshell, right? And the response rate will be anywhere typically from like 5 to 15% will give you a review. Okay, that's not very good to take a client who's coming on board and has potentially 50, 100, 200 less reviews than their competitors, and we need to catch up quickly. So what do you do? So we run what we call a spike campaign, and we do this inside of onboarding. So inside of onboarding, I talk about the importance of reviews and that we're going to help them. And immediately after our onboarding call with a client, we schedule that next phone call, and that's where we're going to go run our spike campaign. So I tell my client to make a list of 50 people that they know, like, and trust, family, friends, people they've done business with, and make a list of their cell phone numbers, just people that would say nice things about them, right? And I say, I need that on the next call that we just set up, right? Then on that call, I literally give them a script and tell them to copy and paste it to send it out to every single one in their cell phone with a list asking for a review. And the key is in that message is it's coming from the owner. It's coming from the person that has the relationship, not some random Twilio number or an email that doesn't mean anything, right? And it's heartfelt. There's conviction. It's a pull, right, on their heartstrings. I need your help. Please do this for me. It'll only take, a minute. And the response rate on those to a successful review is like 70%.
Got it.
So this allows me to very quickly catch all my clients up. And maybe, they're in a really competitive industry, so we get them 30 or 40 reviews there. We'll go repeat that same process for their business partner, for their operations manager, for their top salespeople until we get caught up. Then once we're caught up, then we'll implement what everybody else does, right? That drip campaign for new customers, but not until we've caught up, because if I'm going to get you 1, 2, 3, 5 reviews a week, for most businesses, that's never going to make an impact.
Got that. So, I mean, do you think have you run across any red flags for getting like that spike or that catch up period or anything like that, or is everything fine now?
I've seen some isolated incidents where the reviews have been flagged or like hidden for a period of time, but I say isolated and I mean it. Like, I've had some friends tell me about issues that they've had, but I mean, we've ran this campaign hundreds of times and we've never personally had one problem. Got it.
How about if someone wants to like buy reviews? What would you tell them? Like, okay, can we just buy reviews from like, some people? I mean, would you recommend that? Like, I'm just curious.
Have I ever done that?
Yeah, have you ever done that? I mean,
can't exactly answer that. Yeah, but won't answer that one. But I'm sure every SEO knows the answer to that. So like, I think at the end of the day, like, if you can't get your client to buy into the value, or you as the business owner, if you're the client, it's your project. If you can't buy into the value of reviews and how important that is for the business, then like you're always going to fail. And like, can you take that hack and go buy reviews? Yes, but it's only going to work for a month. And then you're like, it's an activity that needs to keep happening. So like, it's a hack to fix. But, one thing that's changed from me over the years is I used to be very into hacks, right? And it was all about like that next thing, PBNs and very gray hat. And like, it was all about that hack. But now like, it's just, it's not worth it, right? Like, I want to do it the right way, because like, I'm going to build this, business to be worth 7, 8, 9, 10 figures, right? Like, and I can't do that on, a crappy foundation.
Yep. Love that. Clint says, I cannot neither confirm nor deny. Joe T. All right. So I want to get into more back to the strategy of like how you're getting things. Because I mean, there's one of the things that you've actually also kind of talk about within your strategies, like policy documentation and communication guidelines. I mean, what's that all about?
Sure. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you need to have a policy for how you're handling asking for reviews. So if you're an HVAC company or you're a restaurant, or you're a convenience store? What is your system that you train your employees on, right? To be able to consistently get reviews as transactions are actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like one of my best friends, his wife does like permanent makeup. Right. And so I worked on this with her, and she built out an SOP for her and all the girls that work for her. Mm-hmm. But basically we do it while she's wrapping up. She, like when you're getting a haircut and they show you in the mirror what, how it looks, and you're like, yeah, it looks so great. Right. And you're like, man, you did such a good job. Thank you. Right. Mm-hmm. And you're like so excited for your new haircut or your new permanent makeup. Mm-hmm. And then like they say, all right, now I need to get rid of your bill and close out everything and clean up. Mm-hmm. Can you give me 5 minutes? And they're like, yeah, of course. And then they're like, oh, while you're waiting, and they, can you please take 30 seconds and do this? It would mean the world to me. But then you got to give the sob story, right? And so why? What's in it for them? Yep. Right? So like we always talk about the competition. Well, I just realized my marketing manager just pointed out that ABC, plumbing or, Bob's Haircut has 3 times as many reviews as us, and they're taking a large portion of our business day in and day out. I really need your help. And when you give somebody that level of conviction and that level of an ask after you just did something great for them and they're happy with the result, it's very, very hard for them to say no.
Excellent.
Love that. Okay. So now we want to get into more of like your brand mention, and like you talk about brand mentions and how to like monitor them. I mean, like why is this important? Like, and like what do you do when you're monitoring your brand mentions?
So I think, for us, like we really monitor our brands across all the major platforms from a review standpoint, not just brand mentions, but what are people saying in those reviews? And so, with Review Grower, we didn't want to just focus on like Google and Facebook and like the top few. Mm-hmm. Most platforms do that, but we actually integrate with like over 80 sites. Mm-hmm. Right. So we plug in our profile across all those 80 sites, and then we can keep on top of all the reviews. Mm-hmm. And like the thing that's crazy is like you can really have a great understanding of a business and how it's performing by looking at the reviews. Right. Mm-hmm. It's a great training exercise for the owner to be able to review with his teammates, or manager to be able to review with the people that, that are their direct reports about how people's experiences are going and how, and what areas of opportunity there are for improvement. And then like we build strategic SOPs and documentation around how do we respond to negative reviews and how do we deal with them when we get them, right? And the outcome goal is always client-centric, like number one. Like some people just like want to respond to the negative review and look good and not look like crap. Like that's their goal, right? Mm-hmm. Just like fix the positioning of how we look. And I think that that's wrong. Like, let's take care of the customer, because if we take care of the customer, then we can often get them to update the review and say that we made it right and to say that they had a great experience. And then we can comment on the review and we can say, right, we're so glad you had a great experience. We know that there was a problem. Thanks for helping us deal with it. And that looks way better than any other solution could ever be. And then now you got that repeat customer coming back. And so we're really big on building systems and processes to not just respond to reviews and respond to negative reviews, but to solve them and to win back the customer.
Damn! Love that. Okay, we got a question here from Brian. He asks, Joe, what's your opinion on GMBs possibly becoming an option to replace a service business's website, seeing how you can add so much info people want instantly?
I think it's completely possible. I think it depends on like what are the traffic sources that they use, right? So like if all that you use is Google My Business or Google Business Profiles, and that's where your traffic's coming from, and you're not using Google Ads and driving to a landing page or Facebook and driving to a landing page, you don't care about organic SEO, I've seen it work just fine. Right? But, you might need it for those other channels and other mediums.
Got it. All right. So I wanted to go back into, like, you kind of touched upon negative reviews. I'm currently, I want to go down a little bit deeper. I mean, like, you said, like, you kind of respond to them at a customer level, but how else can you manage them? Like, how can you, like, even limit them, your negative reviews, like in search rankings?
So I mean, there's the age old question: do you gate or do you not gate reviews? And what I mean by that is, like, when you solicit a review, you say like, "Hey Paul, will you leave me a review?" And somebody clicks on the link and they go leave something negative. There's an option for you to gate that and to ask them for their feedback. And you can do it multiple ways, like thumbs up, thumbs down. How was your experience? And if they say thumbs down, right, then you take them to a forum and you say, "Hey, please tell us about this so that we can fix it and that we can make it right."
Got it.
Some people do that just to block the reviews. I don't think that that's right. Like, fix the problem so that the customer comes back, right? I mean, I'm sure as marketers, we've all heard the quote, like, it's the most expensive to acquire the customer the first time, right? Every other time is like cheap. It's easy, right? They had a good experience. They're going to come back. You don't have to pay for that marketing again. So there's lots of different ways that you can review gate. You could give like an NPS score 0 to 10. And if they choose 7, it's good. So then it sends them to the review site. If it's a 0 or a 1 or less than 4 or less than 5, then it takes them to that private feedback form. So I think like when it comes to review gating, I think it's important to understand, I guess, understand the industry, right? So, you look at a company like Google, they're not litigious at all. You break Google's terms of service, what's going to happen historically? Nothing. Right? Like, they don't do anything. But if you look at a company like Yelp, like they're very litigious and they take, review blocking and gating very seriously. Right? So I would be educated, right? I think that best practice is to know how these platforms handle gating and what their thoughts are. And I would say that 95% of the industry doesn't really care, right? And isn't actively doing anything about it. But you have those standouts like Yelp that are just crazy about it, and you should know about that.
Love that. Okay, so I'm curious now, like the last part of like kind of your strategy is like even working like with influencers, right? So like this is something like how does influencers come into your reputation and like how about on a negative side, how are influencers talking about your product or service like horribly? How do you fix this, and how does this work and factor in?
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, I think that you should be getting good backlinks to any site that you want to rank, right? So I think, you yourself or a ghostwriter answering PR queries from Turkle or Haro is a great way to get your name out there with a bunch of, DR 50 to 90 links, right? And that's going to have your name in it. So when somebody does a search for your name, your brand, that's most likely going to pop up, right? So for Review Grower, for just on Haro and Turkle, we've gotten links from like Reader's Digest, right? rd.com, from Shopify.com, from Hotjar.com, and the list like just keeps going and going and going. Household brands that you'd all know. So I think that that's a way that you can, not only help rank for your brand, but also have a reputation management play, because when people search for it, right, most likely probably that Shopify listing is going to come up, unless you've been around in this industry for like 12 years like I have, right? In which case, what's probably going to come up are my sites and my social. Right? So in terms of reputation management, those are the ways that we can control our brand, right? So we want to claim those listings. We want to get some content on them. And then in terms of working with influencers, it is definitely a big way that we've grown. Affiliates and influencers paying a percentage of revenue, paying for shout outs, whatever arrangement is customary to them. We don't really rock the boat, but influencers have helped us grow lots of our brands from local to very large nationwide SaaS type of place.
Got that. So on the topic of social media, we have a question here. Do you think it is important to build social media channels for sites? I mean, you obviously talk about that's one of the first things that kind of show up. But I mean, how are you building those up, and how do you make sure that they do show up, for your brand?
I think it's important. I don't think it's overly important though. I guess for context, I assume by the nature of that question that you're probably an affiliate SEO or you're building some affiliate site or some type of brand like that. Right. So I think that having a footprint out there from these major social sites is normal. I think you not having one is strange, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's worth a ton of time focused on building that out either, right? So like, you know, if I was in your shoes, I'd look at what's minimum viable setup, right? How do I get some reviews there very quickly to make it look like I'm a reputable brand? And then how do I put my content syndication on autopilot so like I never need to touch it again? Maybe it's like every time you post on WordPress, right, it goes into a queue, and then once a day it pulls from that queue and just, you know, posts something just so your social looks fresh. What we see in reputation management a lot is like, especially in high ticket services. So let's say you're running Google ads for a roofer, and you're running a like a new roof campaign or an HVAC for a retrofit, a whole new AC system or heating and cooling system. In those big ticket services, even if you're ranking organically, what we see is people then they look you up, or they look up a keyword, right? Like, you know, roof repair or new roof in your city, in your town, in your area. They go to your site, right? But then they hit back, they look at the competitors, they bounce around, and then they're like, oh yeah, I should call, you know, Joe's Roofing. But then they go in Google, they search for Joe's Roofing, and then they start reading the reviews. And then in there, do they decide if they're actually going to pick up the phone and call? So we found like that reputation is really, really important from a conversion mechanism as well. And without it, it can quite literally make or break your marketing campaigns, whether, you know, organic and SEO, or whether like you're running, you know, paid ads.
Love that. Okay, so I'm curious now, like you kind of pretty much explained like the strategy and the different tactics that we should be doing to, you know, build up our reputation. I'm curious, like, so like what can you tell us more like how, like, you know, it's like a tool like Review Grower can help us. Like what is Review Grower doing? All this? Is Reviewer like managing our social, managing like directories or whatever that is? I mean, like, you know, kind of like what is like a software like Review Growing doing to help build our reputation?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the goal for Review Grower is pretty simple. Like, we want to help people automatically get more reviews. We want to help people monitor reviews across all the platforms that are important to them, right? So we have lots of different platforms, about 84, 85 as of us recording this. So you can plug in what's important to you. And those sites are going to be different if you're in SaaS or if you're a local business or, you know, you're an e-com business, for example. Okay, we're then going to take all your positive reviews and we're going to syndicate them to social, right? And we're going to add social proof. So you can say once a day, I want you to use one of these 3 templates, and I want you to randomly post one of my positive reviews. Or you can even say only these reviews, or you can put in some filters to define it however you want. And then fourth, we noticed that most people's sites have no social proof. Right. And most people's websites suck at conversions, right? They're not very good. And adding social proof is one of the easiest ways to boost conversions, right? So we have like 35 different review embed widgets. We went and scoured the internet and basically found all the top ones that we liked, and we just copied them and built them into the platform, right? So you can say like, you know, only show reviews from Google, or show all reviews, or hey, I only want to show 5-star reviews, or hey, any of the reviews that say this word don't show, and you have complete control over that. And so that's been the core fundamental goal of Review Grower. And we've been live for almost a year now, and now we started kind of shifting directions. Reviews are important for us, but it's not the be all end all, right? So 6 weeks ago, we launched our grid rank tracker and just rolled it out for everybody for free, right? And we have another big feature that's about to drop. And so when we think about Review Grower, we think about reviews and reputation and increasing conversions. But now it's like, how do we start transitioning into Google Business Profiles? How do we start transitioning into tracking rankings and ensuring that kind of we have this flywheel that's building and running and helping them get more customers, because that's what it's about, not just reviews.
Love that. Okay, so one of the things that you actually mentioned also was that you mentioned a resource called was it Turkle, right? That's that's something pretty new that I haven't heard on the show yet. And I'm curious, like, I mean, can you tell us more about what is Turkle, and like how are you like getting those links from Turkle?
Yeah, so Turkle is like Haro, like a modern Haro. So help a reporter out. So you can go sign up for Haro for free. And basically 3 times a day, you'll get emailed a list of press queries, and you respond to the ones that you think you can answer and that you have a good chance of being selected. And then basically you'll show up in content and they'll cite you, hey, this is by Joe Troyer, founder of Review Grower, and they'll link back to your site. And often these are very huge publications. Like I said, again, Reader's Digest, Shopify, very large sites like that, hotjar.com, we just got a link from. So that's been around for a long time. I feel like SEOs for the last couple of years have been talking about, Haro is really important. I think, Turkle is like version 2.0 of Haro to me.
Got it.
And what I mean by that is like there's an interface to respond to instead of via emails. You can track your pitch success rate. You can, inside of there, have multiple, accounts or brands that you're doing it for. It's just a little bit easier to manage and to run. Haro, like there's been like a crop up of all these platforms to help you manage Haro because there is nothing. It's just done via email, and it's very hard to keep up with and track and to monitor how well things are going. So I think, Turkle's like it. It's kind of, it's new big brother, if you will.
Love that, guys. Be sure to check that out. If you guys have any questions, please ask them in the live chat because I'm coming close to my last few questions here. But I want to go into more of like, let's say like, how are you like, for like smaller business, because you have like more local businesses, and like how do you compete with more of like the bigger businesses when it comes to like reviews? I mean, like there's smaller businesses opposed to like larger enterprises. Like, what's the difference? And like, how can larger enterprises still kind of like even use reputation management?
100%. So I think when you think about the differences, there's a couple of interesting things or different types, right? Yeah. So it could be like a 1 location business, right? Or it could be like a McDonald's that has 100 locations, right? And so the difference for McDonald's versus a 1 location business is really just doing it 100 times and then kind of roll up capabilities so that they, as an organization, can track how every franchisee or every one of their stores is going. So I think it's multiplication, and then it's kind of roll up so that they can see everything from a top view down. And we have a couple of very large brands, not McDonald's. I wish. McDonald's, if you're watching. No, I'm just kidding. I think then another distinction is like, well, how does this work for like e-com versus local businesses? And one of our strategic partners is an e-commerce brand. They're in like Walmart, Best Buy. They're in a bunch of very high-end stores as well, all across the country. And for them, reviews is key because they're like literally looking at what's the sentiment analysis, what are people saying about our brand, and then like what are the problems? And they're finding problems in their physical goods, right? Like this one SKU we just launched, 30% of the reviews are talking about how there's this one kink and there's this one issue, and we need to go back to our formulators and we need to fix this. Right. And that makes a better product, that makes better satisfaction, that leads to a higher, return rate. Another thing that they're doing that I think is really cool is, along with asking for the review, they're asking, where do you normally buy their types of products? And they're trying to get in more retail. Right. So their goal right now is to get into Walgreens and CVS, and because they're huge, right, all across the country. They're a lower end store, but there's so many of them that footprint would be massive for their business. And so they put included in the review request a survey, and people are voting on which are the best. They've gotten 4,000 or 5,000 customers over the last month to say CVS or Walgreens. And now they're going out, their channel sales is going out and saying like, look, 4,000 of our customers are trying to buy our product in CVS. Why haven't we made this deal happen yet? I mean, that's huge, man.
Yep. Love that. All right, there's a question here from Hobby. Hobby is it's true or false question. It goes, feature of reputation management. Are trust signals to be better chances to rank, like your website to YouTube, YouTube to websites? True or false?
In terms of reviews, I think like Google only in Google business profiles is the only correlation that I've really seen any data around or that I can tell you is true. We just did a big data study on every Google business category. So there's like almost 4,000 of them. So we took all the categories and did a search for the top 200 cities in that category. So New York City, roofing contractor. Yeah. New York City, the next one. And we did this big data study, and definitely there's a huge correlation between ranking in Google and the number of reviews and overall ratings that you have. Huge. I mean, we've known that for quite some time. But I would say that we're probably getting to a place where reviews is more like, 40, maybe even 50%, I believe, of the overall ranking factors based upon the data that we ran. So about 4,000 categories in Google we looked at across 200 cities. I don't know. I'm not that good at math. A lot of data. And, the one thing that's most common across the ones that are ranking is they've absolutely crushed their reviews, right? 4.5 stars or better overall rating. And they have the most reviews. Like it's almost unanimous across the entire country.
Love that. And is that study available for anyone to kind of check out, or is that kind of just your personal study that you? Yeah.
So I don't have it yet. Well, we published like 4,000 pages to the Review Grower site. So if you look up like reputation management in any Google business category, we rank. And that did some really weird things, right? We found out that we probably don't want to rank for some of these categories and reputation management, right? I found out, the other day we rank for sperm bank reputation management. So I don't, I don't know if that's something that we want to do, but hey, we do. But that's how you can find it. But we're looking at over the next probably 2 weeks or so, publishing a report about kind of all our findings in summary.
Love that. So guys be on the lookout for that one. That comes to my last question. Anyone in the audience got a question, please ask them live chat, because I'm going to go ahead and ask my last question that I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. If someone wanted to become an SEO professional themselves, what would your advice be to them?
Man, I think that you should go be a freelancer. Go find one client, go find 2 clients, not a ton. Right. But find somebody to give you steady work to learn the skill so that you can truly entrench yourself with it so that you can be a pro. Because there's lots of people out here talking about SEO that have never done SEO, don't do SEO. Right. I think the best education is just getting in there and doing it and having the reflections yourself. I did this and this happened. I did this and this happened. This was the change. This was the impact. And I think the second thing, if I can add one more, is just focus on the long-term strategies, right? Because there's only a couple things I think that you need to really nail when it comes to SEO, and you can be an expert in a short amount of time. But I know for me personally, I focused on a lot of the hacks and focused my time there and got stuck in those instead of learning foundational things that I could do for 10, 12, 20 years that would continue to work for me day in and day out.
Love that. Thank you so much. Okay, so I didn't see any other questions come in, but for this episode to feel complete for you, please, the stage is yours. How can people get a hold of you? How can people get a hold of get a hold of your course and stuff like that? And where can they find you online?
Yeah, so Review Grower, definitely check out. We have a free trial. Check us out over there. Probably worth noting, if you're an SEO, you like looking at SEO, go look us up in Ahrefs, see what we're up to. Cool little case study for you guys. We went from a DR3 to a DR66 in the last 11 months.
Ooh, interesting.
Purely 2 tactics, right? Guest post on really high DR sites, DR70 plus, right? And PR links. With the 2 sources that we talked about today, and then building a content team. And we built a content team from scratch because I couldn't afford to do what I wanted to do, right? We built out 500 pages of content over the last year. If I would have went to the other freelance sites out there, I love you guys. I know all the owners, but I couldn't afford it, right? Stretch that out 500 pages over, 11 months. It's crazy. So we built our own team. We taught them how to write, no previous experience. and we're getting content for 2 cents or less per word. And we just ramped, those 3 activities to the moon.
Love that. And I'm curious, you said guest post. I mean, are you talking about guest posting, like buying a guest post from someone, or like what's your tactic on guest posting?
Yeah, just quality over quantity, right? And really high DR. So like last week, we just completed and it went live a post for Flippa, and like we're a regular contributor now for Flippa, and so I think we've done four on Flippa. So we're doing like 1 a month. So like imagine the effect that has, right? And imagine when I do outreach and say I have a guest post coming up on Flippa, right? How many people raise their hand and say, yeah, Joe, let's work together, right? So like it doesn't take a lot of those types of relationships and spots for us to build a lot of very, very quality links.
Love that. And again, please what's your Twitter, LinkedIn, or which network are you usually on that people can get a hold of you on?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Just look up Joe Troyer. You'll find me. I'm on Twitter occasionally, not that much. I like the SEO Twitter sphere though. I do. I've been getting sucked in over there. I feel like there's some really good content, and I'm always looking at it. And then at digitaltriggers.io, we run a podcast, and the most active over there, but not really huge on social. I find just running so many businesses and doing so many things, like I'll just go down a rabbit hole, and I'll be in it for 2 days trying to play with ChatGPT and some automation, and I'll get stuck and never finish it, and then be like, all right, I'm climbing back out, I'm coming out. So yeah, try to stay off the socials.
Love it. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's give a round of applause. All right, Joe, can you hold on for 1 quick second while I sign off here? Just 1 quick second. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. And I will see you next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO Video Show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!